My name's Rob McHaffie. I'm an artist based in Castlemaine, Victoria, and this is my exhibition at Bendigo Art Gallery. When I was young, I always had an attraction to art. My nana collected ceramics and watercolours by an artist called William Russell Flint. And I think that filtered into my kind of consciousness. And then my mum took me to a few exhibitions when I was young. So she took me to a Van Gogh exhibition and a Rembrandt exhibition. I remember being completely kind of dumbfounded and baffled as to why or how it was a person's occupation to do that, to just paint a chair. And those paintings of Van Gogh really spoke to me, which I found very special because it was like having a conversation with someone from the past. Later on throughout art school, I looked at a lot of comics and really enjoyed Spider-Man, Batman kind of comics, and would collect magazines from the local news agency. It was a little bit like meditation, and I would feel very close to the subjects. It just felt like a way to kind of get to know people and expand my horizons from my very suburban existence. My parents kind of encouraged me to study science, but during that time at Melbourne University, I would go to the Rowden White Library, and they had a huge compendium of Egon Schiele works. And I remember being especially touched by those, as well as the lyrics of Tricky, the kind of Brit hip hop guy. So I left engineering, did a folio course at Brighton Bay Art and Design College, and really enjoyed that and applied for art courses and wound up studying drawing at the VCA with some great lecturers. There was John Campbell and Stig Persson and Greg Creek and Vera Moeller and Sue Stamp and a whole lot of people coming in and out of the university, which was exciting. My artistic practice is quite a daily routine of really observing. So walking's a big part of my practice, or sitting around. I'll go home with kind of whatever's kind of registering on my mind. I tend to make a drawing or small watercolour about, or gouache painting. It's quite a playful, fun thing to kind of see how the paint is kind of flowing and reacting with the paper. And then if it's an idea that's really tugging my leg, I'll then kind of stretch up a canvas and start painting the idea. It takes me anywhere between half an hour or a couple of months to finish a painting, depending on whether I'm working in gouache or watercolour or oil. So the oil paintings, the large ones, take about 6 weeks or 2 months. Smaller ones I can do in a week or 2 weeks. With a painting, I will usually compose the picture, and I feel that it's kind of like the paintings are kind of like a collage between my thoughts, imagination, what I've seen, what I've documented, and imagery that I've collected. And it's kind of about placing those together in a way that kind of fits, and then recreating that on the canvas. It often evolves from the idea that I have, so I'm always slightly surprised at the finished result. And sometimes I bring my wife into the studio to kind of get advice about colours or composition. So things do definitely change during the process of painting. With ceramics, because it's a collaboration with the clay, sometimes the clay wants to do this and sometimes you want it to do this. When they come out of the kiln, things have shrunken, colours have changed, and it's always a more surprising medium to work with for me. I usually wake up at about 7, and then the kids are kind of up and hovering around. I'll then, get them ready for school, make a bit of breakfast, and maybe squeeze in a few stretches if I can. Take them to school, come home, have some breakfast, maybe a cup of tea with my partner, and then head into the studio. And so I can work pretty solidly between those school hours of 9 to 3:30, and then pick up the kids, maybe play a bit of tennis or basketball with Cooley. And then if things are going well and I'm not too tired, after dinner I'll head into the studio for another couple of hours. But preferably I'd just kind of head inside at night and maybe do a bit of drawing on the couch. The titles in my artwork are usually quite conversational. And they may be lines that I've thought of myself and written down in my journal in relation to something, or they may be a line from a song that's really touched my heart. And I feel that they offer kind of an entry point into perhaps the narrative that's appearing in the work and how the work kind of unfolds with that kind of language that's added. My advice to students, if they were creating a narrative-based artwork, would be just to play, move things around, find the people that you like or people that you've observed or imagined, and see how they kind of fit together in a scene or how they relate to other people or objects within a picture plane. I get charged up with colour and looking at people, so having all of these reflections and all of this work from the last 20 years is overwhelming. And I think when my wife and I walked in here for the first time, we walked around and go, wow, I've done it. I've made a great show in a big museum.